guys? Welcome into another episode of Dynasty After Dark. I'm your host, Calvin Timms, and if you'll notice, I cut the intro short a little bit here today because I'm tired of getting demonetized on YouTube for copyright bullcrap. Find a song, chop it all up, and I'm still getting copyright. It's crazy. So I'm going to be working on getting a new intro song. So for the next couple weeks until I do that, we're going to be cutting it short. I'm your host, Calvin Timms. You can find me over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin, my co-host at Dynasty_Dale. And the content just keeps rolling, man. Just keeps rolling, even into the dead of summer. That's where we are right now. But how's it going, Dale? Doing all right today?
Hey, it is going well today. Today is the first day of summer. It's the longest day of the year, and it's definitely feeling like it in the dynasty world here. So
Today really the longest.
it is the longest day. Well, of sunlight at least. I mean, it does feel like the longest day, but that's beside the point.
There we go. Yeah, it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. We're only a couple weeks away from training camp starting up, and that's when things will get really spicy, right?
Yes.
All these mandatory mini camps. None of it really matters. But yeah, mandatory, or once the actual training camp opens up, you'll be getting all those blurbs, and it's crazy to me how many blurbs we've been getting for players, even though like nothing is happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
The Niners haven't even been practicing really, but Sam Darnold's the number one. It's like, what are we doing?
It's crazy that they're saying that like Adam Schefter went on Pat McAfee the other day and basically said that it's Brock Purdy's job to lose and all this and that, and they haven't even practiced. They've probably barely even met this summer, and
yeah, it's crazy.
Things are crazy.
Oh, and Darnold, yeah, Lance is the number 3. Like, I do for real, and I know I'm a Trey Lance fan, but it is crazy to me the irrational bias that Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter have against Trey Lance. Like, they have never once said a positive thing about Trey Lance in any of their coverage, ever. It is crazy. So, something's going on there. I don't know what it is, but maybe someday find out.
Maybe.
All right, so that said, we have been pumping out the content. You can go check out a couple of Dynasty discussions that I've had talking about the number 1 running backs for their respective teams. I hit up Jacksonville Jaguars. Recently, this week, I put out a New Orleans Saints video talking about who the number 1 is there. That one's a little bit more spicy because you've got Kamara, you've got Jamal Williams, and then you've got the rookie Kendre Moore. Whereas, Jacksonville just has a couple of guys in the mix there. But it's nonstop. Here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be mass recording for the entire month of July, recapping every every offseason change for all of these teams and the dynasty impacts for 2023 and, going forward from that. And yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about all the coaches, all the players, the rookies, everybody that's joined the team, everyone that's left the team, all the anticipated changes. We'll touch on defense. We'll even touch a little bit, not much, but we'll dip our toe into the defensive
Just
players.
a little.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
We'll save it for the IDP guys, but
I know.
It's relevant just in the fact of, some of these guys are going to have better defenses, so it's going to limit their opportunities and things like that. So no, it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's going to be dropping 1 a day in the month of July. I'm going to be doing 2 a days because there's going to be breaking news. I already know off the top of my head that there's going to be some stories that are going to be breaking in the month of July. So, we're not going to let that wait until August. We're still going to be putting out videos 2 days in the month of July. So make sure you're coming back and tuning in for that. You can find the podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, YouTube. Go check out the Dynasty After Dark YouTube channel. While you're there, if you can, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff just to help us out with the algorithm. Appreciate you guys tuning in here today. Today, what we got for you is a mock draft. We're going to be doing we've been doing these mock drafts for actual teams here in the past, but today we're just going to do a 1 quarterback, no teams, just mock draft of who would we take at each pick, and we're going to be going against the computers for most of the teams. You know, Dale and I both have a slot, a draft slot,
Hmm.
and we're gonna let the computer kind of auto pick and see how it's going to impact us and who we would be taking. And we're doing one quarterback because we haven't really addressed it this offseason, and it does change things pretty heavily. You know, when you take
Absolutely.
out the Anthony Richardson, the CJ Stroud, and the Bryce Young from the top five, you know, how is that going to really impact the back of the first round, the middle of the second, for example? So we're going to be talking about that today. Dale, any last thoughts before we jump into this?
Well, just one that I'm not in any one quarterback league, so it's going to be a lot different. I feel anymore that like Superflex is what Dynasty and most like redraft leagues are. So it's with this, like, this is just a different way to kind of see how people would draft,
hmm
in these different kind of formats.
Yeah, I'll say I definitely agree with you on Dynasty. Almost every Dynasty league nowadays is
Almost
is
every.
becoming a super flex, but I would
Yes.
say redraft is still probably massively one quarterback favored. And that's just I think that's just so many casual listener
Yeah.
or you know casual players out there that they're
Fans. Yeah.
yeah, they just want to have a little fun, draft these players.
Yep.
They don't really want to go into the impacts of two quarterback or super flex, things like that.
Right.
But again, this is going to be helpful for everybody out there. So that said, I have the 3 pick. Dale has the 9 pick, and we just randomly picked a couple of spots here. And you know, I didn't want to give anybody the 1 or the 2 because it's kind of easy, and you know,
Hmm.
wanted to have a little bit of a decision there. So you know, we're both on the back. We're on different sides. It's going to be linear, you know, so it's not going to be snaking like most rookie drafts out there. And then the only other thing I'll mention is that it's you know a standard lineup. You've got one quarterback, 2 running backs. We'll do 2 receivers, so it's not super heavy on
Okay.
the receivers. You know, 1 tight end, 2 flex, something like that. That's maybe 3 flex, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, we're not going to go super heavy into the 3 wide receiver. We're just going to make this more of a generic standard type of draft. So that said, we're going to kick it off and let the computer start to pick. And we have a timer here. So I have 3 minutes to make this pick, and I got to make it pretty quickly. Bijan Robinson was the number 1 overall pick. Jameer Gibbs went 1-2. And in a one quarterback, that's not too surprising.
That is not surprising at all,
yeah,
actually.
I'd
Nope.
really expect those two to kind of to be the top 2 here. Now this lets me take my number 1 guy, and you know I've been talking about it all off season. It's definitely flipped for me that Quentin Johnson is now my number 1 wide receiver. I have him above Jackson Smith and Jigba just because of the fears for this year and then next year, just the
Hmm.
availability. So I'm taking Quentin Johnson. I think the ceiling on this guy is going to be insane, and we're going to see it this year. Uh,
And going on your pick, I get that, but I still love JSN, and I think
sure.
he's gonna be it. And I would rather take the talent that I saw a couple years ago than a chance on Quentin Johnson. That's just me,
Fair
but
enough.
I'm a homer, so I'm
Right.
all right with that.
So JSN
So,
actually went 4.
yep,
Jordan Addison went 5. Zay Flowers went 6. Anthony Richardson, quarterback off the board at 7. Dalton Kincaid went off at 8, and that's where
that's
it's
that's
very
that's
interesting.
that's very surprising because I mean I can see that in a tight end premium league, but
Yeah.
not in a standard format.
Vanilla
One
league,
quarter.
right?
Yeah, yeah, that's really weird. So, which I'm kind of glad that happened. So, I mean, I could go quarterback here because I feel this is around the range where a lot of quarterbacks start kind of falling off the board a little bit.
Yeah, and real quick,
But
let's
yeah,
dive into a couple of options that you're boiling it down to. I mean,
yeah.
receivers. There's a few guys out there. Not
Yeah.
not
Yeah, I would say I don't really like any of the receivers right here. I'm thinking either Charbonnet or Miller, or who I'm really trying to target right now.
Charbonnet or
I mean,
Kendrick.
yeah, yeah,
No
yeah, yeah,
Devin
yeah. It's
Achane or yeah.
I don't mind Chain, but I think he's gonna be too boomer bust.
Okay,
And I kind of think if you're at the 1-9 that you want somebody that's, I feel that's gonna be a little bit more steady, personally,
sure.
and that's gonna win you more weeks than not, so that you can try to try to make that championship game. So,
Fair enough.
I mean, that's just me, but um, so I'm gonna go with Kendra Miller is who I'm gonna go with.
Pick. Talked about him in the breakdown video earlier this week. Now I do, like I said in that video, I'll just reiterate it a little bit here. Go check out my full thoughts in that one. But I do think that there's a little bit of risk with 2023. I think Alvin
Mm-hmm.
Kamara is going to get a very short
Light
suspension. Yeah,
suspension,
I
yeah,
think it's going to be a lot lighter than people think. And I think with the three-headed monster that's there, it's going to be a little bit more concerning. But I think in 2024, Kendra Miller is going to be guns up, and I think
yeah,
they're going to be minus Jamal Williams, maybe even minus Kamara at that point. So
yeah.
I like it long term, and this is Dynasty,
Mm-hmm.
so can't complain there. Zach Charbonnet went off right after you at 110.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Achane at 111. Michael Mayer at 12. Again, it seems a little early,
That's
but
crazy for the tight ends. I mean, I could see one of them going off at like 112
I like Michael
or
Mayer though,
or the
man. A lot.
201.
I
Yeah,
can
I do
see
too.
it. I can see it.
I really like I don't mind it there. I don't like it at 108. I think
Right.
that's way early. Way
Right.
early.
Jonathan Mingo at 2-1, Bryce Young at 2-2, and I am on the clock here at 2-3. Bryce Young going at 2-2. That probably feels right where he's actually going to
Yeah.
go. I don't
Yep.
love it though. I'd rather
Agreed.
have CJ Stroud still, but
Yeah.
yeah, feels about right.
Hmm.
Now, because we're doing this and we're not doing it team specific, I'm going to take this player and have no problems whatsoever with it, right? If I actually had to draft for a team, I probably would not be taking this guy. But because I don't have to worry about roster construction, I'm taking
Hmm.
Marvin Mims here. And I think Marvin Mims
Ooh.
is the best talent that's left on the board. The guy's going to
Oh,
be a stud. Um, second round pick with Sean Payton. You cannot complain whatsoever. So, any thoughts on the Mims pick really quickly?
yeah, I thought the Mims pick was good. I'm surprised you didn't pick your boy Stroud, honestly.
Yeah,
Because you know,
yeah,
I kind of felt I'm surprised he dropped down to 208
yeah,
personally.
yep.
You know, after he got past like 205, I was hoping he would get to me, and well, it's the past couple days. Like I've been doing some best ball drafts,
Oh, nice,
and
nice.
there's been a couple people sniping me, and it just keeps happening, man. It's this recurring nightmare. But
Yep,
anyways,
I feel you. So
so
Sam Laporta went off at 2-4, Rasheed Rice at
mhm.
2-5, Josh Downs at 2-6, Jalen Hyatt at 2-7, CJ Stroud at 2-8. Now, and Rasheed Rice still feels pretty rich, even at 2-5,
Yeah, it does.
even
It
in a one
does.
quarterback. It just,
It definitely does.
I'd
Yeah,
much rather have
I
Downs.
mean,
I'd rather have Jalen Hyatt.
yeah, I mean, I get some of the hype, but I don't think Rasheed Rice is that good of a wide receiver. I mean, he's a big wide receiver. He's a big bodied wide receiver, but his route tree last year at SMU was not great.
Right.
He caught a lot of screen passes and a lot of these dink and dunk things, and didn't really go do a lot of 50-50 success rate, you know, on those 50-50 balls. So
Yep.
it's going to be interesting what happens in KC and who's going to be that wide receiver one.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. So
Yeah.
that leaves you a little bit of time here. Hopefully, you've been thinking through
Yeah.
who you're going to go.
Yeah.
Take your time here. Who you thinking?
Yeah. I want to stay away from the Chicago backfield. That scares me to death. Personally, because I mean, it's either going to be Foreman, Herbert, or Johnson, and
Yep.
it's hard telling which one who it's going to be. You know, and I mean, I like Rojo personally, but it's going to be interesting. And then I don't really like Jalen or Jaden Reed. None of the tight ends make sense. I don't really like any of those. So it's really between Bigsby and Spears,
Okay.
and I think I want to go with. I think I'm going to go with a guy who has a little bit more upside potentially, at least year one, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I'm going to go Tajay Spears and just
Man, I was hoping he'd make it back to me.
yes,
I get it. Yep, I'm with you.
yes, and he is not making it back to me.
Yeah, that was I wasn't saying anything because I was really hoping you wouldn't take him, but
Right,
more than likely he would have gone off the board. But yeah, I like that pick,
soon after,
especially
yeah,
2-9, man.
yeah,
One
yeah.
quarterback
It's
at
it's
2-9.
fantastic.
That is
It's
that is so cheap.
fantastic for him. Yes.
Yeah. So Roshan went at 210, Tank Bigsby at 211, Jaden Reed at 212, Luke Schoonmaker at 3-1. Now this is where ADP
Why?
just goes.
Why? Yeah, it's
ADP's going
crazy.
crazy. Go home, ADP. You're
Gross.
drunk. Um,
Yeah.
Chase Brown at 3-2. I actually like Chase Brown. That feels not too bad,
No,
at
no.
3-2 there, but a lot of potential upside. Man, this is where it's kind of rough. If you look at the board, and again, if you're just listening to this on audio, I implore you to go over to the YouTube channel, check it out. We've got the draft board up here, talking through it. The guys that are available are interesting, to say the least.
Yes.
you know, Abanaconda, I don't love. There's all the Dalvin Cook kind of hype there.
Yeah, I've
Cedric
been hearing that
Tillman,
too.
I've got two receivers, but it's good value. It's very, very good
It's very
value.
good, very good value.
Tank Dell, never in a million years.
Oh,
Darnell
come on,
Washington, Deuce
man.
Vaughn, I'm out. The other guy that's kind of in consideration is Michael Wilson a
I knew you
little
were gonna
bit
take
here.
Mike. I knew you were gonna thinking about Michael Wilson.
Eric
I knew you were gonna think
Gray,
about him.
man, this is
It's
one
it's rough.
quarterback.
It's really rough in
Sucks.
this spot.
Oh my
Yes, it does.
gosh.
It's rough in this spot. And I mean, you could maybe go a quarterback here, but I mean, you could probably get Will Levis at 403. In all honesty.
That's what I'm hoping, to be honest, because I
Right,
was
right,
thinking Will
right.
Levis a little bit here.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, Zach Evans, I don't love either. Oh,
It's
Tillman, or I'm gonna go Michael Wilson for the upside. I like Tillman a lot, but there's been
mhm.
for some reason I just have a little bit of a suspicion that DeAndre Hopkins is gonna end up in Cleveland. I
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
sinking feeling that the longer this goes, they've been adding guys left, right, and center, and that just makes me a little concerned about Tillman's long-term value. Now, I really love the talent, but he's more of an Amari Cooper type of player, and this offense is loaded. You can't complain about it, but for fantasy, I just don't know if I trust anybody. So I'd rather wait on Tillman and try and buy him after this season for a year two breakout.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that, and I think that's a good strategy for people to look at is that those wide receivers that don't do well year one to maybe have that second year breakout.
Yep.
That's a pretty common thing that a lot of that I've been seeing
Yeah.
or hearing that a lot of dynasty managers want to try to look out for.
Yep.
Whether that happens for Tillman is another thing, but I
Right.
think I believe Amari Cooper's contract is up at the end of the year.
Or it's cuttable. I
And
think that you
yeah,
can
yeah,
you can
yeah,
cut
it's
them.
it's it's cuttable. It's one or the other. So,
Right.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Cleveland moving forward.
Yep. I'm with you. So Michael Wilson was picked there. More potential year one value.
Hmm.
Tank Dell goes off at 3-4. Luke Musgrave, tight end, goes off at 3-5. Deuce
Wild.
Vaughn at 3-6. Abanaconda at 3-7. Cedric Tillman at 3-8. And then you're on the clock here. And
I
who are you
am
thinking?
I'm well, I'm first. I'm really upset with the teammate. They keep sniping my people. And
I know.
again,
Nine kind of
again,
sucks, man. It really
again,
does.
again, yeah, it's really hard once you get towards the later parts of on your rookie draft because all the good players go away, and and these decisions just get a little bit harder. So,
Right.
um, yeah, and I really want to take a wide receiver eventually, but I do not want Kayshon Boutte. I think I wouldn't be sh- I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make the roster. You
I
know,
wouldn't be shocked either, to be honest
yeah,
with
I
you.
wouldn't be shocked about that.
That was a
Darnell
weird pick by
Washington,
Bill Belichick, to be
it
honest.
was weird. It was weird because he has a lot of character issues. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah, so I could go Evan Hall. He's interesting. I could go a quarterback here
Mm-hmm.
if I really wanted to get frisky. But I've been really liking the upside of Dwayne McBride ever since Dalvin Cook got cut.
Mm.
I think he could be really spicy, especially if Alexander Madison gets hurt, which wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Right.
So I'm gonna go with Dwayne McBride. and keep my string of running backs going
Yeah,
strong.
we're convert. We'll have to make a couple trades after the draft because you've got all the running backs.
Absolutely.
I've got all the receivers.
Right,
Um,
right.
oh man, no, I like that. I like the potential upside there. I forgot about McBride a little bit, you know.
Yes,
But yeah, there's definitely some potential upside there for sure.
absolutely.
All right, Will Levis goes off the board at 310.
Ooh,
Darnell Washington
Darnell Washington. There we go.
at
Who,
311.
whoever he is.
Yeah, exactly. Zach Evans at 312. Keishon Butte at 4-1. Puka Nakua at 3-2.
Yeah.
And that puts me back on the board here. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I have a little bit of a conflicting interest here. Eric Gray is kind of interesting, running back
Yep.
with New York Giants. Saquon
Yep.
Barkley
He
doesn't want to
is.
hold out, but
Mm-hmm.
he's holding out. He wants to get
Yep.
paid. He doesn't want to leave the team. He wants to be a Giant for life, essentially, but he wants to get paid fairly. And
Yep.
I can't fault him. He was that entire offense last year. Daniel Jones got the contract, but in reality, everyone knows Saquon was the one running the whole thing.
Yeah, he was.
Hendon Hooker is interesting, the upside, but he's someone I think you're going to find on waivers in one quarterback leagues.
Probably.
He's got an
Probably.
injury, and he's not going to be. Yeah, not many people are going to draft him. And the other guy that's interesting, even though he was an undrafted free agent, something's up with the medicals. We don't know all the information, but Sean Tucker to Tampa Bay, there's a lot of potential value there.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
here's the question, who would you rather have, Sean Tucker or Eric Gray? Eric Gray, 5'10", 210, right? Sean Tucker, 5'10", 210. So they're the same size, same age. Oh, well, no, sorry. Sean Tucker's 2 years younger, but Sean Tucker had so much more potential coming out. Didn't get the
Yep.
draft capital that Eric Gray did, even though he was only like a 5th or 6th round pick. I can't remember exactly what. Wasn't amazing, but I think I'm going to take a stab at Sean Tucker here and just hope
Interesting.
just hope that he can do something, because the competition for him is way, way easier to a path to relevance than someone like Eric Gray, right? Because if Saquon's on the field and he's playing, Eric Gray ain't touching the ball. So
That's very, very true. 100% true.
So yeah, I like Rachaad White, but he is not the proven talent that
No, he's not.
Saquon Barkley
And
is.
yeah, and I do feel that White is going to be a 1-year anomaly, in the league. I don't think he has a lot of staying power. And
Right.
the offensive line should be better, but he still wasn't very good as a runner.
Right.
And, as a running back, you have to be at least decent at that, and he was not. So
Yeah, and that's where, to be fair to him, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had one of the worst offensive lines in football last year. So there is that piece of it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there this
Yeah.
year. All right, so after that pick, Eric Gray does go off right after that one. Hendon Hooker at 4-5. Sad. I was hoping he'd be back there at 5'3". What's this guy's first name? Strange. Brendan?
It is Brenton
Strange. That's right.
Yep.
Eric Hall, running back to Indianapolis, went at 4-7. Xavier Hutchinson, one of my favorite sleeper picks in this entire draft.
Freaking Team 8. I was going to pick. I was getting ready to hit the Hutchinson button, and it's the third time in a
crazy.
row.
Dude,
Yes.
it's crazy.
Yeah, so I would have loved Xavier Hutchinson there. And I agree with you. He is definitely a sleeper. I think he's going to be Stroud's best friend.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Honestly, and
Tank Dell got the draft capital of 3rd round,
Yes.
but I think Xavier Hutchinson is the way better player personally.
I agree. So, I could go running back again, but I'm tired of taking running backs, and they're not a lot of fun.
Right.
So, they are fun, but it's good. But I think I'm gonna go Tyler Scott here. I'm either between. I really like A.T. Perry. It's for the fact that Michael Thomas is always hurt. You really don't know who's going to be the wide receiver 2 in that offense if Michael Thomas gets hurt, or if or when he gets hurt.
Yep.
So I did think about Parker Washington, but there's a loaded. It's
Yeah, he's
it's
got a long road to
yeah, he is way down the depth chart in there.
right.
You know, like they have three startable wide receivers. So I'm gonna go Tyler Scott here for the upside with my guy and the love of my one dynasty team, Justin Fields. So
Fair enough.
I'm really excited to see what Tyler Scott can do. You know, like he does have good, decent draft capital, and I think he's going to be a late bloomer. Like he'll probably have that um, second year swing, I guess you can say, to have a better shot at doing well.
Right.
So
There's all those reports that Chase Claypool and the team are
that was a horrible
surprise,
trade.
surprise. Chase
Yeah, I'm not
Claypool
I'm not
and the team
surprised.
are
Having problems. Yeah.
yep. So no, I do like it. Darnell Mooney could price himself out next year as well. DJ
He
Moore
probably
is
will.
the guy, but they're gonna need
Yep.
another guy as well. So
Yes.
At Perry
100%.
though, those were the exact two same guys that I was looking at as well.
Mhm.
Um, all right, so At Perry does go one pick right after Tyler
Yep.
Scott. Charlie Jones, wide receiver with Cincinnati, goes at 4'11. Chase Rodriguez at 4'12. Stetson Bennett at 5'1.
Ugh,
I mean,
gross.
yeah, whatever at this point. Tucker
Gross, yeah.
Kraft at 5'2. I was actually hoping he would make it to me. He was kind of
Yeah.
interesting at 5'3. You know, I
Yep.
don't love these tight ends, but that one would have been interesting. He was a second round pick, if I remember right. He went ahead of Musgrave.
I,
Musgrave was the
no,
later pick,
no,
right?
no, no. I think it was the opposite. It was the
Is it?
opposite way around.
I
Yes.
cannot remember.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is because Musgrave went
Oh
early
yeah,
second
yep.
round,
Okay.
and then he went in the third round. Yeah.
Okay. So I had Tucker Kraft one spot ahead. So
Hmm.
it's leaving me in an interesting position here. A couple
Yeah.
names that kind of stand out. No Hendon Hooker. No, there's not a single quarterback that I'm going to take in a one quarterback here. There's no chance
Right.
in hell.
Yes.
Um,
100%.
the tight ends I don't love either. Running back is kind of rough. Parker Washington was a name you threw out there as well. Man, fifth round in a one
It's
quarterback is
rough.
real bad.
Rough.
Real
Yes.
bad. There is not a lot of names that I feel confident with here. And I know everyone's going to say, oh, there's this one guy that I really love. And it's like, yeah, you might really love him, but I don't. So the one guy that I do actually kind of like here, the potential upside is Trey Palmer with Tampa Bay. And this is
Okay.
back-to-back Bucks picks here. But Trey Palmer has a little bit of potential. I know that he doesn't have any draft capital, but there's all the rumors that they're going to extend Mike Evans. I just don't see it. And I really think that this team is going to be in contention for Drake May or Caleb Williams at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that means that every wide receiver that's here is going to have the potential to work out with a new quarterback next year. So I think that Trey Palmer is a guy that might be able to do something next year. He's kind of a stash player here. But again, there's going to be guys that everyone's, oh, I can't believe you didn't take this guy, or this guy. But yeah, I just like the upside potential of a stash on Trey Palmer. Any
Yeah.
thoughts on that pick
So
really quickly?
yeah, no, I like that. I mean, I think it's a good stash pick. You know, all depending on what happens with the the Godwins and the Mike Evans of the world. So
Right. They
you
could
know,
trade Godwin. I would not be shocked, man.
I wouldn't be either, and they might even trade Evans, or they might like structure their deal, or
Sure.
it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Tampa because they have a lot of dead money right now
Right.
with Tom's contract,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it's going to be interesting to see
Yeah,
what
all
their
the
general
vets.
manager
Yeah,
does.
they've paid a lot of people a
Yes,
lot of money the last couple of
a
years to make
lot of
those
money.
those
Yes,
Super Bowl runs. So, they got
yes.
one. You can't complain too much, but yeah, when
Yeah.
that bill comes due, it's not fun.
No,
Clayton Tune went right after me. Not a terrible pick, I guess.
no.
Penny
I and
McIntosh.
I
Go ahead.
and I kind of wish that he would have came back to me. I probably would have taken him
Fair
because he
enough.
has the potential to be a starter this year.
Yeah, in week one, I still think that they're going to add somebody personally, but we'll see once training camp kind of rolls around.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that's who
Carson
I'm
Wentz.
thinking
Yep,
personally.
I do
Kenny
too.
McIntosh at 5'5", DTR, Dorian Thompson Robinson at 5'6", Cameron Latu at 5'7", Kendra Mitchell at 5'8", or Kenton Mitchell at
Yeah, it's
5'8",
kind of different.
and you're on the clock at 5'9". Who's your last pick gonna be?
Yes. I thought about taking
Hey, your boy Washington. Deneric Prince is kind of
I thought about taking Deneric Prince because I know Kansas City loves their undrafted running backs. They do. They really do. So
you
I
know
either
who
thought about
you know who
yeah,
my biggest sleeper is at this point in the
who?
draft?
Who?
Mohammed Ibrahim.
Ibrahim. Yeah,
Ibrahim, whatever it is.
Ibrahim. Yes.
It's a
Yes.
tough name to say. But with
Yes.
Detroit, I know they took Gibbs in round 1, but it's a little interesting. You've got 18 seconds though, so I'll let you
Yeah, I
make the
know.
pick and we can talk
So
about it afterwards.
I also thought about Justin Shorter too,
Okay.
out of Buffalo, but I think I'm gonna go with Prince and take the
Okay.
upside
Yeah.
of that Kansas City offense. I also thought about Aiden O'Connell out of
Okay.
Vegas as a potential sleeper
Yeah. He might be a
quarterback.
starter too.
Yeah, he very well might be the starter with all of Jimmy G's madness that's going on, and and at this point in the draft, in the fifth round of a rookie draft, like, you're just taking shots at guys,
Right.
you know
Right.
and probably about half of these guys won't be on rosters. And
Yeah, we'll see if anybody makes the cut.
yes, yeah,
Those are tough days, especially in the fifth round. But
yes,
Zach Kuntz went right after you at 5'10", Aiden O'Connell at 5'11",
hmm
and Jake Hayner at 5'12". So it's not completely accurate, but it's not too far off what I'd expect.
no,
I do think that there's a lot of hype around those tight ends, and I know it
yes,
feels
there
early,
is.
but in reality, when you're looking at Sam Laporta or Rashee Rice, Sam Laporta has a real chance of being something relevant this year. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? His path to opportunity is insane. So
hmm
I do not fault anybody for taking Sam Laporta over Josh Downs, Jalen Hyatt, in a one quarterback league, CJ Stroud. Because if you can get a guy that's a rookie, it's something worth trying to grab. So
hmm
tight end's a very
100%.
rough position out there right now. And CJ Stroud, I love him, but in a one quarterback, he's probably not going to get many starts at all this year for any team
No,
out there.
probably
So
not.
unless you're desperate. So
Yeah, 100%.
yep.
Yeah,
So I don't hate it. I do think Luke Schoonmaker. I think a lot of people still don't know that Luke Schoonmaker was drafted to be a blocker.
yeah, and he's not a very good pass catcher. And I
Yeah.
watched him. I watched him for a couple games
Yeah.
when he was in college at Michigan,
Yep.
and the guy has stone hands. Like, he's a good blocker. Don't get me
Oh yeah, for
wrong, but
sure. He's
like,
gonna be great for that.
but yeah, yeah. So yeah,
So yeah, like I said, this isn't completely representative, but I do think it's pretty accurate. Like Anthony Richardson at 1.7 and a one quarterback feels about right.
100%. Yes.
Bryce Young early second feels about right. CJ Stroud, intermix that with Bryce Young. He could go anywhere in between where he went and
Yeah.
Bryce Young. Will Levis at 3.10 feels about accurate. So yeah, there
About
was
right.
there
Yeah.
was nothing here that was egregious. You know what I
Crazy.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I do think there was probably more quarterbacks taken than I think there should have been.
realistic, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, there was 10 quarterbacks taken.
right.
So that's probably about two or three too many
Yeah, I
for
think
one
Clayton
quarterback
Tune would
league.
probably be the last one, to be honest with you.
Last one, yes, yes. I mean, I could see Aiden O'Connell potentially because of the Jimmy G stuff.
Right.
But but like, it's DRT and Jake Hayner. I don't think those guys are gonna sniff the field.
Yeah.
So
Jake Hayner's not even the backup. It's James Winston.
yeah, that's true. That's
So,
very true.
all right. So, guys, if you liked our draft strategy here, again, this is kind of just more off the cuff. The reason why I don't like these types as much is because you saw what I did. I took 4 wide receivers. Dale took 4 running
hmm
backs. We both had one-offs of the receiver and running back opposite of what we
Yep.
took. But, I had no draft considerations to actually build my roster around. If I needed a tight end really, really badly, I would have probably taken Sam Laporta over Marvin Mims. But in a
hmm
one quarterback non-tight end premium, I like Mims's upside more than Laporta's
Yes.
just because I think that he's got more talent. I probably don't need Quentin Johnson, Marvin Mims, Michael Wilson, and Trey Palmer. So
Yeah.
that's why I like doing it a little bit more. It's harder to do those because you're doing it for an actual league. So a lot of people
Mhm.
out there don't really understand, oh, well, this is what this person might be thinking, things like that. But I
Yeah.
do, this does have value as well, just to kind of see what to expect in your upcoming rookie drafts. So let us know your thoughts on YouTube, on Twitter. And you can find us on Twitter at TDC_Calvin, at Dynasty_Dale. We're happy to answer any questions for you guys all off season long. So hit us up with anything you guys got. You know, love to answer questions. You can
Mhm.
DM me or
Absolutely.
you can tweet at me. Doesn't really matter. Ask us in the YouTube channel below, and we'll answer any comments you guys leave there. We like to hit up every single comment. So you guys leave some. You know, some videos get more than others, but it takes you 10 seconds. Just say hi. We'll say hi back. I don't really care. Anything for the comments and the likes and that stuff, it takes you about 1 second to do. So if you can,
Literally.
yeah,
Yep.
please do it. If
Literally.
you're enjoying this
Yep.
content, it means a lot to us. So that said, until next time, have a good night.